we've seen Prism, but we hardly see Viserai.
Well, it's interesting because Viserai is one of the more played decks at the tournament today, but it just they seem to have run into a few problems along the way or run into other decks. I believe the sort of current Viserai build is based around the Sonata and Bloodchief Skeletor combo.
Yeah.
So Bloodchief Skeletor, so Sonata, you're basically able to use your Bloodchief Skeletor with whole lot of rune charms out to Sonata for a large amount for cheap. That's the very quick summary. Because basically the Bloodchief means you can declare X as, say, 15 if you have 30 rune charms out and you play it for free. Now, it'll be interesting because I believe the Viserai builds, they kind of have like an aggro build they can sideboard into, or they've got that sort of semi-OTK build. So I am very interested to see how this plays out.
Yeah. So the most interesting ruling about this matchup is Spectra versus Rune Chance.
Okay, do you want to explain that one for the audience?
So how it works is Rune Chance will trigger if you play an attack, but it won't trigger if you tackle with a weapon into a Spectra.
Ah, okay. So this is very relevant for things like auras and all that as well.
Yeah. So we'll definitely be seeing that a lot this matchup. And
also we may see stuff along the lines for Arclight Sentinel can be interesting, but I think the thing with Viserai is even if you pass and have a whole lot of rune charts and a whole lot of cards in hand, it's probably still okay. But yeah, we will.
All right. Let's just get started, Kieran.
Let's just get started. No more speculation. We're just into the round.
Yeah, Henry starting out with a Herald of Triumph.
I wonder what we might see some Viserai players play Ninth Blade of the Blood Oath. I think for various reasons, but it is very good in this matchup as well.
They definitely do play Ninth Blade. It's one of the key combo pieces.
Okay, so we just see a double Herald turn here. And we're going to get an equipment, an equipment block on turn 1. Rohan might be thrilled about that, but the Prism player did have to give up an Arsenal to get that out. So we will see. Now, I think we'll find out pretty quickly. We did see Mover in Sky's block come out here. I think there was a blue copy, so we may just play that anyway. But I'm searching for a sign to see if he's playing more sort of build-up Viserai or more of that aggro mid-range build. Okay, Mordred Tie, not too bad on turn 1.
Good start. Create a rune chant, and read the runes.
Okay, and create a whole lot more rune chants.
Yeah, so 7 on the board.
7 rune chants turn 1. We have a little expression for that at MBN, must be nice. But I feel Rohan's got to be pretty happy with that start, right? 7 rune chants on his first turn.
100%.
And for all those who may not be very familiar with Viserai, his hero ability is if you played a non-attack action and then a Runeblade card, you generate a rune chant basically.
Yeah.
So that's why I got the additional ones like with the Mordred Tide and the Read the Runes there. But we see Henry just, putting his foot on the gas. The War Tune Hero's coming down for 7 there with Go again.
So this might be a little bit difficult for Rohan.
I need to replace the batteries.
Are they out? Okay, we're back everyone. Sorry if there was a little bit of a noise there. We may have had a slight battery issue with the sound, but I believe we are back now. Okay, look, we're live. We've got actually someone watching live in the flesh, in the flesh and blood, what the game is all about. So, okay, was that a double Tome of Divinity?
Yeah.
That is quite a lot.
That's a good turn for Henry, but he's only dealt 7 damage.
Okay.
I don't know if this Wartune Herald has
So that's a yellow Wartune Herald.
connected yet. Yeah, but
Okay, so we missed a little bit of the action. I think the players, hopefully they've unpaused. We just asked them to pause very briefly while we got the audio fixed. So if we can just get our team to signal to them for them to start the game back up again. Any second now? Okay, and I think we're back. We're back. Okay, so we saw a double time of Divinity, which we kind of missed when we were switching batteries, but we're back in action.
I believe Rohan must have taken a Herald attack,
It looks like it, yeah.
enabling a Vestige.
Oh, actually, there's no Herald in Arsenal, so... Oh, wait, yeah, there is. Sorry, it's just in a different place.
Oh, and he drops Library of Solana. Oh,
Okay, so...
With 2 yellows, it means Henry will be playing with 5 cards next turn.
Yep, now I think... Okay, so I feel Rohan here is going to want to be digging for some blues very, very quickly because the library can get out of control just... Like, the card advantage it spills up is just immense, isn't it?
Oh, so he's given up on building Rune Chance. Now he's just going at him. You know, consuming Volition plus 7 Rune Chance.
Now, what are your thoughts here? Does it kind of make sense to pivot, given that the library is down if he can't kill it right away? Does he need to sort of start trying to strip some of his cards out?
Yeah, 100%. But I think he's doing this because he doesn't have as much yellows as he would want to destroy Great Library of Solana. So if he cannot destroy Great Library of Solana, Henry will be playing with 5 cards each turn.
Yep.
And just overwhelm him.
So he's got to sort of put on the aggro a little bit until he can... Does he need to really sort of buy himself some time to draw into those yellows to maybe get rid of the library?
Yeah, or he can just go aggro, so try to strip cards so he does not get to play with 5 cards each turn, right? So by doing this play, it forces attention because Consuming Volition,
Of course.
if it hits, Henry will have to discard a card.
Yep, no, that makes sense. So then he won't have the yellow cards in the pitch time
Yeah.
to trigger the library. Okay, so he's taking the Rune Chance, which makes a lot of sense. Probably looking to just defend the Consuming Volition here.
So Henry takes the Rune Chance.
Okay, so Soul Shield. And it looks like he has another Soul Shield on hand. So I feel like Rohan needs to force some sort of follow-up here in order to stop, because otherwise we can see Henry's got a Soul Shield and another yellow pitch card, so he can sort of use one to activate, to generate a Spectral Shield, and the other probably just to play out a card. He's just got the Rosetta, which I feel probably isn't threatening enough, is it?
I think Henry will take 5 damage, enabling him and making sure he definitely gets 2 yellows in his pitch zone.
Yeah, so I feel like when you're playing Winning, that's probably the last thing you want to see, the library come
Yeah.
down.
Most fair players' nightmares, for turn 1, turn 2, library, and you're just like, oh, what do I do now?
Yeah. Okay, so we see it's 1 yellow pitch card in for the Wartune Herald, and he's got another one in hand, so he can just generate a Spectral Shield or something like that using the Prism ability. Okay, so
Ninth Blade.
and I believe he used the resource for the Phantasmal Footsteps here for our viewers.
Alright, getting the second yellow. Playing a Herald of Protection, taking 6.
And this is just it feels so difficult to come back from this, right? Because if you're, and actually defend it with the Ninth Blade, but that's a yellow pitch card.
Yeah.
So, but I suppose you can't just hold on to it forever, or you just sort of get around to the card advantage a little bit.
So I feel like Rohan has to get lucky and draw two yellows in one of his draw cycles.
Yeah, so that's why we talked about Prism being like sort of, back from the dead a little bit, because we haven't seen Prism feature much at all across National season, I feel.
Yeah.
Just that much, but I feel there's a number of very good players playing at New Zealand Nationals.
Yeah, because Prism struggled against Briar because of how Briar's playstyle it was too fast, it did too much damage, whereas today in New Zealand Nationals, there's so many control decks such as Oldham, Bravo, even this Viserai deck is a slower deck. With the format slowing down, Prism actually has a chance.
It kind of has its niche in the meta again. It's able to sort of prey on some of these slower control decks just by overwhelming them with the strong go-agains. It's got the Aura Plan, the Great Library. You know, it's Great Library making those yellow pitch cards very, very relevant here. And that's the thing, I feel, again, Rohan wants to, my guess is in this matchup here, given the current board state, is, like you were saying, he wants to either force out blocks or force a bit of damage through, and hope he can sort of draw into those 2 yellow pitch cards before the game just goes completely out of control.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds a little bit of when you're playing sort of the Rhinar vs Dash matchup back in the day. You kind of want to just hold off until you got those Arc Smashers to get rid of their chambers. But the problem is Arc Smash is 1 card, you need 2 yellow pitch cards, and I'm not sure how many that the deck runs in total.
Yeah. Yellow is definitely one of the most unpopular pitch colors in the game. So
it's almost like the devs kind of know what they're doing with some of these cards, like Great Library, making it a bit more cool. And obviously things like Luminaris as well. Okay, so we see Henry, I can see an Arclight Sentinel card in hand. Does he have the second yellow pitch? He absolutely does. I believe that's a yellow Herald of Protection.
Wartune here. Oh, in his hand, or he played out?
In his hand, sorry.
Oh.
Okay, so he defends again with the Ninth Blade. Again, I do wonder if there's some sort of merit to holding on to the Ninth Blade to wait until you draw a second yellow pitch, but is that maybe a bit doomed to failure because you just fall so far behind in tempo?
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't think waiting is a good strategy. Just keeping 1 card in hand, your opponent will know it's either yellow or it's a 6 or more power to break Phantasm.
That's a great point. Now, we see Henry did not get to draw off the Great Library here, so it's actually a bit of a window for Rohan to keep putting on the pressure.
Yeah.
I feel he's like immediately moved away. He just knows he has no time to build up the rune chance, I feel, to get there unless something just falls into his lap like an amazing Mordred Tide into, all the rune chance turn. Actually, another card he probably has in here is Rune Blood Barrier, another yellow pitch card,
Yep.
which he might be wanting to see very soon to get through that library.
So pitching a blue, making a rune chant.
That's unfortunately not looking that threatening. Okay, come on and conquer.
CC.
So that's good. I feel Rohan's doing a very good job of buying himself a bit of time here.
Oh, Henry actually has double Arclight Sentinel and Prismatic Shield. So
That could be a tough one to
he
get through.
can't actually just double block it.
I guess he could pitch the 2 Arclights for the Prismatic Shield and maybe defend with one other card. It would eat up all the shields. It's not the most efficient play at all, but
He might actually
be in a little bit of trouble.
be thinking of taking it. To be honest.
I did wonder if the card in Arsenal for something like a blue Herald of Protection, in which case he might not mind too much. But again, the damage is starting to pile up a little bit. But one thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but one thing I've tended to notice in some of these Prism games is the life lead isn't necessarily the end of, it's not purely indicative of how the game's going. Because Prism, I feel, can fall behind a bit in life and then rapidly catch up with things like Great Library or just Arclight Sentinel turns.
So he chooses to defend with 1 card, take 3, so he can Prismatic Shield on his turn, enabling the double yellow.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And now he's able to come in with these with
One,
Go
one,
Again
one.
as well, I believe. I think that might be, I'm not sure, but I thought I saw another Night Blade in Rohan's hand, but I can't see any other yellow cards there. Yeah, because what I suspect is what's developing here is Rohan kept up the pressure for a few turns, but now that card advantage from Great Library, like we've been saying all game, is just really starting to stack up. Henry Moore made sure he packed this library card today to come down to Nationals, and it's paying off big time.
So Ryan choosing to take all the shields. Now he's playing with a 5 card hand.
Ryan's probably thinking stuff, in ancient history, the Great Library of Alexandria burned down at some point, and I've got to do the same to this one, otherwise I've got no shot. It's just overwhelming. But you can see, you can almost see the wheels turning in Rohan's head. He's sort of tapping the board saying, what can I do to get through here? I feel those spectral shields are actually very frustrating to deal with as well, because they can do things like eat up your rune chance to take away triggers like meet and greet, things like consuming volition as well.
Yeah. So we'll start with Marine Skies. Ooh, Vexing Mouse.
Okay. And it comes in for 2 arcane. We can see Henry there has Arcane Barrier 1. Obviously, it's Spectral Shields as well that can sort of eat up that arcane damage. But at least it's something.
Now, if Henry wanted, he could use Halo of Illumination to prevent with Spell Void 2 to prevent Vexing Malice.
That's true. Did you think he might be wanting to say that for late game?
I think he will be saving it for his third tome play, I believe.
That makes sense. To guarantee.
To enable Vestige, and so on.
That's a good point because you guarantee that card into your soul, don't you, to turn that on. And he's probably thinking at this point, it doesn't matter enough to me, that 2 arcane damage.
Yeah, there you go, using Footsteps to defend Fixing Mouse, and preventing 1 arcane and losing 1 spectral shield.
So you can see what Rohan has as a follow-up here. So he has 1 Rune Charm out, he's got the Rosetta Thorn potentially, card in hand, card of Arsenal. Rune Flash coming through. So that's coming through for 1+4. That is that, technically, yes, it's a break point, but the spectral shields, like we're talking about, you can, if Henry wants to, he has kind of a lot of options here, doesn't he?
Yes. So he still has 1 to prevent the Rune Chant, 1 floating from previous, and then Rune Flash will be coming in for 4.
And I feel if he defends with 1 card and loses a spectral shield, he's probably just totally fine with that.
Yeah. Because it's just, as you can see in Henry's hand, there is a Ode to Wraith. I'm not sure if he has 2 yellows, but if he keeps those 3 cards, he can just play the Ode of Wraith on his turn, get the 2 yellows in his pitch, enable Great Library, as well as threaten with a shield and the Ode, which is potentially 2 damage.
Absolutely, and I feel he's got probably a bit of flexibility to lean on in regards to his life total and spectral shields here, because without those Rune Chants build up, which Rohan doesn't really seem to have time to do here, the explosiveness of Viserai is a little bit limited, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he does really have that option if he wants to, of just saying, hey, you know what, I'll take 3 or 4 more damage and it's not the end of the world.
So pitching Meet and Greet to Rosetta, Henry will gladly take it all. Yep.
Yeah, and that's just exactly what we were talking about there. So Henry, I think he's just playing this perfectly so far. He knows he has that card advantage built in from the library. He knows he just needs to keep the yellows in hand and treat that life as a resource.
Yep.
Now we can see that there is Rohan does have I believe a Sonata in hand.
Yeah, so pitching 2 yellows to play Ode.
And then that's 5 more cards next turn.
Yeah, and an Ode.
And an Ode, let's not forget that.
Yeah. Well.
So I wonder if we're looking at, the life total suggests, Rohan is ahead by 7 life, but what we've been discussing is he seems to be falling behind in card advantage throughout the game. Do you think, is there a potential for Rohan to look to pivot at some point back to that Rune Chart build? So if he can look to maybe make something work with like a Mordred Tide, Read the Runes turn to build up to say 8 to 10 Rune Chants, and try and make something happen with Bloodsheath and Sonata.
Yeah, there's definitely that play.
But it's a question of time, isn't it? Does he have time?
It's the time, and will Henry let him?
Yep.
Because Henry's attacks are pretty. The heralds, they're pretty big.
They are, and they've all got go again all the time.
All got go again, and then if you build more and more Spectres, it just gets harder and harder for Rohan. He can't leave these Spectres untouched.
That's a good point, because the only reason this game has been kept relatively close is because Rohan's been putting the pressure on every turn as best he can, forcing out these blocks. As soon as he stops doing that, when we start thinking like, 2 heralds plus multiples auras coming down with Ode to Wraith, it just becomes so hard, doesn't it?
It gets out of control.
Yeah. Okay, but the Moverians guys are putting in work.
Oh, he's playing Read the Runes?
Okay, so it looks like that might just be, he doesn't have much going on, so that's what he wants to do here.
Yep, so he's trying to set up, because in his hand he does have Sonata Arcanics.
Yep. So interesting, he's looking at his hand here, it's not quite, he may just be passing priority back to Henry, of course, because Prism can play instant
Henry
speed.
does have a Merciful in hand, I believe.
Also, just perhaps that Prism hero ability, which is once per turn, may have considered using that if need be. But this has been quite a sort of, like a lot of games today, this has been really exciting for me, just watching these two players try and sort of navigate this game a little bit.
It's been back and forth.
It has, because I think we kind of see Rohan sort of fighting the tide, you know. He knows eventually that, like, this is the turn that if Henry can put the pressure on, it might be a little bit overwhelming and it'll allow him to sort of pull so far ahead that it becomes quite difficult for Rohan. But I think Rohan might be looking at it and going, my one chance here is getting off a Sonata Skeletor turn.
Yeah.
Because, like, otherwise, I think he's kind of given up on trying to break through with enough damage. But, you know, if you get, say, 10 to 12 rune chance, which is probably the max he might be able to get to here, but then suddenly, you know, that 19 life is looking a little bit thin.
Yeah, so here comes the Merciful.
So these are going to really start to hurt now, aren't they?
So they're attacking for 1, but if they hit, Ode will trigger dealing another damage. So he's basically attacking for 2, go again.
One thing I want to point out here is, like, you know, potentially, if Rohan's looking to set up a big Sonata turn, he does know that those Arclight Sentinels have been pitched to the bottom. So it means that he doesn't necessarily need to worry about that as much. But again, like we say, it's going to be, it might be a bit of a tall order to survive all the way through until you build up enough rune chance to get there.
So Henry has another Merciful and a blue card. I think making a shield with Prism's hero ability, attacking for another 2, and then arsenaling the Merciful would be quite a good play.
Yeah, I'm kind of watching with bated breath. How's it going to turn out? Okay, so defending with the red runes.
I think he's gonna do the Sonata play
This turn. Okay.
I don't think it's time to wait.
That's fair. You know, to put in perspective, while these players have been testing for months in the lead up to this, whereas I'm maybe a little bit just blindly speculating here of the plays they can come up with. So it does make a lot of sense. Like, Read the Runes obviously does not have Go again. So if you spend a full turn playing that to get 3 rune chance,
Henry's playing with 6 cards to his disposal, 2 auras.
Yeah, it's probably just not going to work, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll see what Henry wants to follow up with here. Yeah, because I suppose even with, say, 4 rune chance, the Miracle Sonata, you know, if everything hits perfectly, goes in his favour, he might be able to string together something, just to put a bit of pressure on.
So Rohan's really thinking about this Spectral Shield attack.
I wonder if he's thinking, like, is this the turn that I take the damage because there won't be that many turns that I can left in the game? Is this the one I do and go with the Sonata, or is this where I just have to wait? And again, like, a lot of pressure on both these players. Both of them are very well aware that the winner of this will be live going, or basically will make it through to day 2, and is sort of 1-3-0 draft away from effectively making the top 8.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, anything can happen in draft as well. I feel like you draft an amazing deck, you go 3-0, and your top 8 dreams are alive.
100%. Just like Kel's Oldham deck with 0 equipment.
Good point. Okay, so the player's sort of really going into the tank here to figure out.
So he'll take 2.
Okay, so that drops him down to 20.
Alright, Karen, here we go.
As this year, we may see Rohan just try and make a bit of a roll of the dice here, because I think Henry's been playing very cleanly here, setting up his auras, not getting too greedy. He defended when he needed to, really just setting himself up for the late game where, you know, the auras, library, and everything will overpower. And here we see the bloodshed come down.
Here comes the fireworks. Sonata X equals 2. So revealing
5 cards.
Oh.
That's about as good as you can get,
Yeah,
I feel.
it's not bad.
I mean, probably not the best attacks ever to reveal, but he, you know, did hit the cards. He hit 2 cards, so that's 2 arcane damage coming through. But again, Henry with those 5 cards in hand, it just feels like so much to overcome. And
there we go. Using Halo to prevent the 2 arcane damage from Sonata.
did he use
it? Is he?
I think he used it to put that Hero of the Judgment into Soul here. Exactly. There we go. You called it early in the game, the Tome of Divinity turn. And this is not what Rohan wanted to see on this turn. You know, he's probably saying to himself, "You already have 5 cards in hand."
I think Henry's really digging for his Arclight Sentinel this turn.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been watching super close, but I feel they might still be a little bit away. But maybe I've.
Another Merciful. Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
So.
Does this give Rohan a bit of a window though? Because obviously, you know, Henry's got himself extremely well. Okay, now we are playing Flesh and Blood, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we call the Aura package. Wow. So 2-0 to raise, 3 Merciful Retributions. The Spectral Shield's going to get taken out.
So it will be. Oh, wow.
How much damage is that? I'll let them do the math. Is that like 5, 10? 8?
8.
9?
8, 9
We'll let the players do the math. But in saying that, does this?
Yeah, so it's free. So it's free damage per Merciful because of 2 odes. So free damage from 1, free damage from 1, free damage from 1, including the 2 odes.
And saying that though, like obviously Henry's down to no cards in hand here.
But Henry's life open now, isn't he?
The shields are down. Like this is why. I mean, it made sense for him to go for this, and I mean, 18 damage. It's a tall order, but we'll see what the Viz player can do. He does have, I believe, the Spellbound Creepers up. That may help him out. Okay, 8 damage. That's not a bad start. Wow, this is turning into a thriller. Meet and greet. That's got go again. That's coming in for 5. Like, that's going to make a rune chant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh no! Is this? Has it all gone wrong for Henry? Because that's coming in for 5.
And it'll create a rune chant.
Wait, 4 plus 1 arcane. That's 2 rune chants because maybe one from that.
He's still got 2 cards in hand.
And the Rosetta Thorn. The Rosetta Thorn is potentially lethal here, isn't it? Oh my God! Is he? Am I missing something, or is? Oh my God! Oh my God! Wow! What a way to finish the day!
I think Henry got a little bit carried away.
Did he get a bit too greedy? I feel like he got too greedy there.
But he definitely got a little bit. Oh wow!
Yeah, so I think they're walking through it. I did not expect that.
I'm so shocked.
Well, because I know he had a lot of auras in hand, so it was a little bit of a force play, but it looked like he did pitch some cards that he could defend with.
Yes.
And I think he maybe just didn't respect the Viserai burst damage enough.
Yeah, I think he just got too greedy, trying to play out all these auras and just leave him wide open.
The one thing there was, I will say, is so Rohan must have had in hand the Rune Flash and the Meet and Greet, I think. So I think he revealed a Spellblade Assault and a Dread Triptych. Yeah, so Henry might have been thinking like, you know, there's not enough damage to come through. Like, these attacks don't have go again. He's got the creepers, but not enough resources. Oh, wow, I'm just in absolute shock right now. That is...
What a game. What a final game.
Oh my God. I mean, your heart's got to go out to Henry here. That's got to be devastating, because he had the game. He had the game that you had to have thought, he's got the game, like, I've got the setup. If he doesn't kill me this turn, it's over.
Wow.
But we also have to give full credit to Rohan. He dealt with that library the entire game, and he pivoted his game plan. He had that one turn with 3 runes where he thought, I'm going to go for the Sonata play, see if I can hit 2 cards, and see if the dream is live. And the dream was alive. It was... Man. Oh, that is an absolute heartbreaker for Henry.
Henry must be kicking himself right now.
Wow, and, you know... But what a story. That's a highlight play for me. If we had a highlight reel, that's got to go into it. Rohan must be feeling he got out of jail.
Yeah. Rohan must be so stoked right now.
Yeah, he must be, like, what a way to... He must have felt dead in the water. He saw those auras come down. He pulls off the Miracle Sonata. He has the Rune Flash. He has the Meet and Greet. He has the Amplifier just to put the cherry on the cake. Oh my God. What? But that's the thing with Flesh and Blood. Like, Newsom and I, we both just absolutely love the game so much, and that is just such a cool play for us to watch. That's an amazing way to end day 2. My heart was just racing on that final turn. I was just like, wow. And like we say, there's amazing sportsmanship there. I know Henry's a really, you know, a great player, just a great person. They fist bumped, they talked it over. Obviously, he's disappointed, but, you know, the table was not flipped, so...
I think Henry and Rohan are good friends.
I think they play a lot together. They're both Auckland locals.